welcome back to God of War 3. We couldn't quite get the fire exposed because of the Hands of Fate, whatever guys down below, so continuing on our quest, as you do.
So they weren't impressed with our Guitar Hero performance, and we have to play Rock Band instead.
It's all a piece of the puzzle.
Would Kratos be the guy who tries to jam the piece into the puzzle that doesn't fit?
Depends if he's pressed for time or not. Pressed for time, or maybe, I don't know, Kratos doesn't strike me as a patient dude, so...
Yeah, that's true, because, like, there's a buffet that he wants to get in line for.
McDonald's.
And I suppose by get in line for, I mean cut through the entire line. And I'm not talking about, like, cutting the line as in jumping up into the front. Although he probably would do that first and then murder everybody just to be a dick.
Kratos is the kind of dude that when he hears drive-through, he assumes, okay, I'll just take the vehicle and drive into the building. It's like, no, Kratos, no.
I'm just imagining a chariot, like, ramming through the wall of a McDonald's. No, and then Kratos is like, I want a Big Mac! Excuse me, sir.
I want the biggest of Macs.
The drive-through is that way. I was told to drive through.
Loading. The game is loading.
Yeah, this is the deliberate loading. I think this is also a callback to, I think, the first game did this too.
Yes. And it still needed to load anyway.
Yeah. Oops. You failed, God of War 3.
Stuff like this always annoys me, where it's like, okay, we have this area to seamlessly integrate the loading into the game, but then we're also going to just have the game load anyway.
I mean, I am using a PS3 Fat, which is the oldest model.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised your stills work.
Yeah, the one that I have.
Well, what I need to do is get a base PS3 and only whip out and just have like the PS Fat on standby for PS1 and PS2 playing.
I mean, I'm sure it's not that complicated to get it sent to someone that can fix that shit. It's just that takes effort.
I mean, it's just a matter of I really try to take care of my stuff.
Yeah.
So.
But the thing is that the parts inside just naturally degrade over time.
Yeah.
And if anything, that's what's going to kill us first.
We're also getting to the point where a lot of consoles are past the point of being repairable.
I mean,
well, you can replace parts.
Yeah, I mean, most of the parts aren't hard. It's just, will they have the operating system or the necessary parts?
Like for older stuff, once the circuit board goes, and then you can argue that's the end of that console. But the stuff that holds it together, all the other little pieces, you can replace those with some effort. Because I've never been one to, I was never really good at soldering and all that.
Yeah, I mean there are always, if you live near a decent city, there's always some retro electronics place that can repair stuff for you.
Yeah.
Is Hera a wine mom in this game?
Yes.
Okay. Why does she want to kill us?
Because we're Kratos.
Ooh, Hercules.
Hello, Ototo.
Kane Marco.
Wait, why is...
If it was anyone else, I would be very disappointed.
I don't get it.
There's a very famous clip where in the live-action Hercules series, the actor just yells disappointed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I still don't get it.
It's only funny when it's taken out of context.
All right.
How about this? While you were being crowned the God of War, I was sent to find an apple.
You got a Disney movie out of the deal.
They called them neighbors.
I mean, you get free passes to Disney World every year. How is that not a perk?
Killed Anemia alive, but he made your
You get to meet Mickey of all people.
a fierce warrior, a killer made hero, a man made a god.
I mean, are you not?
His
a
beef
demigod.
seems really...
Forced.
It's petty.
Yeah.
Like, it's remarkably petty. Then he gives Hercules something. But then again, I always kind of figured that Hercules was also affected by Pandora's box.
Which would make more sense.
Yeah, but it's never clearly... I don't think it's clearly stated enough, or if at all.
Yeah.
Because that's a good write-around for that. He's just saying that he was corrupted by Pandora's box's influence, and there you go.
And it would have been nice if Hercules was given something to do in, like, 2 or something to build us up a little bit more. Instead, Hercules is just here.
And I don't know if any of the prequel games do any of that, too, because I still have not played Chains of Olympus or Ghost of Sparta.
I haven't either, but I haven't particularly heard anything.
Those are the ones on PSP. And Vita is one on Vita?
I think they're both PSP.
No, they're both PSP.
Okay.
Ascension is also a prequel.
But that's on PS4.
I don't know. Well, no, it was PS3, too.
Oh, right.
But I don't know what the story of that game is.
I think by that point, everyone was just kind of done.
God of War out, yeah.
Yeah, like, even at that point, it's...
I'm kind of wondering how well a God of War game would play on PSP, though, is the thing.
I mean, there's no camera control, so that's not really an issue, thankfully.
Okay, well, that's good.
No. And again, God of War worked just fine on PS2. And PSP was a little weaker, but it
It could get close enough.
Yeah, that's the handheld that had Crisis Core, you know? And if that game could work on that handheld, then a God of War certainly can.
Yeah, it's not a matter of function, it's just, is it a quality enough game?
Yeah.
I
hear they're fine enough, it's just, at this point, you don't need 5 or 6 God of War games.
I get the stigma, though, because back then especially, like, you tell me there's a God of War game on the PlayStation Portable, and there's just this feeling that I'm playing a lesser God of War on the PS2.
Yeah,
like,
handhelds were still the lesser console, but the benefit was taking it on the go.
Yeah.
I feel like there was I feel like that's really only the stigma for series, I guess, that were once console, but then quote unquote downgraded to handheld. Like, nobody really talked a lot about Minish Cap or the what is those things called?
The
Oracle games or whatever. Because those are the handheld Zeldas. Those aren't the quote unquote.
Well, they're filling
Zeldas.
a different niche, because at that point, by the time those came out, we were already in the realm of 3D Zeldas.
Yeah, and that's kind of what bothers me is that the 2D realm allowed game genres that I think honestly might have died to continue going on, like 2D platformers and Metroidvanias. You know, those stayed around because of the GBA, effectively. Like, I don't think we would have gotten any other 2D Metroid games had, the GBA not existed, and we could have had, what's that game called?
Yeah, because God knows they were not interested in doing that shit on the N64.
Yeah, no. Like,
and all that, yeah.
I am still surprised that they were able to get away with making a 2D Kirby game on the N64. Like, at all. Like, I would have expected...
well, that's only Nintendo didn't have sort of a stick up their ass, though, as Sony did.
Sort of. Kirby was, as far as they're concerned, it's always a very beginner, very young kid series. And 2D is just much easier to wrap your head around.
That's true.
So it made more sense to keep Kirby 2D in that regard.
Yeah, I suppose so. But yeah, I feel like, there's a reason why it was so many years before another 2D Mario game was made, in 2006 from 1990, whatever it was.
Well, part of the problem was just Nintendo was more content to re-release the old ones over and over, as far as the handhelds were concerned.
What, before... Oh, okay, yeah.
Because you had Mario Deluxe on Game Boy Color, which is just the first Super Mario Brothers. And then obviously the Game Boy Advance had basically every 2D Mario game, but except an original one.
Yeah.
Which I feel the Game Boy Advance would have been a perfect time to actually do one.
It is very weird how they never bothered making a completely original 2D Mario game. I mean, not to denounce the advanced stuff, because, I mean, let's be real here. Mario 2 got the best deal out of that.
Super Mario Advance is one of my favorite games.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not.
It also has the most significant changes.
Yeah, like, they added a lot of content to that game. They really tried.
Yeah, not saying they're bad versions of the games, but
they are pre-existing games.
Yeah. If you had a Super Nintendo as a kid, you've played these games already.
Yeah.
I guess, though, it did bring those games to a new audience, because I don't think I would have played Super Mario Brothers 2 at all if it weren't for the Super Mario Advance port. You know, it let another generation grow up with those games, which I think is important. Although we're kind of at the point where where people grow up with that. A new generation grows up with those games because they give them away for free now on the Nintendo Switch Online and whatnot. But still,
Yeah. I mean, it's again, it's just one of those. It's weird they never did one of an original one, considering just the console it was on, and then they waited till the DS, which was a bit weird.
I mean, we're kind of at that same point with a lot of other stuff now. Like, a lot of people kind of are expecting a new Spyro and Crash because they got remakes, but I don't necessarily know how reasonable it is to expect those just because they got a remake, you know? I mean, I'm sure it's what a lot of people want, but I don't know how likely necessary it is, even if the games did do well.
I mean, just again, timing. We're at the time of this recording, starting to hit into new consoles, so they could be making some. They're just waiting for new consoles.
Yeah, like making a decent enough launch window.
I mean, I guess that's the hope, right?
Yeah.
That's always the hope, of course.
Yeah.
You know.
It's just kind of one of those things where if I'm a developer and I know the PS5 or Series X or whatever are coming, it's almost kind of like, what's the point of making it for the current consoles unless it's like a smaller scale game?
I guess if you want to make sales in any capacity.
Yeah, but at the same time,
You know.
you also can get a lot of sales being the only game on the market for that console. I mean, just look at ARMS.
Oof. That's... Okay, Kratos, you can't climb up a ledge without real hands.
No, they have gauntlets.
They have hooks.
They have spikes. They have spikes.
Oh, God. Whatever. I'm too tired for that right now. But, I mean, I know some people who really like ARMS. So, you know, there are people.
Yeah, but people are always like, oh, it deserves to get into Smash because it sold 2 million copies. It's like, it sold 2 million copies because there were only 2 games worth playing on the Switch at the time it came out. If ARMS had come out a year later after Splatoon 2, Smash was making the hype cycle and all that, I guarantee you it wouldn't have done anywhere nearly as well.
Yeah, like the only competition was 1-2 Switch, which only sold 1-2 copies.
Wait, so did it sell 1 or 2 copies or 12 copies?
That's why I say 1-2. I don't know the exact number.
It's 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah, I'm not gonna take away from fans of ARMS. Like, I'm glad they found something to like about it. I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah, it was just too boring to me.
I don't really get most
I
fighting games in general,
I just
so-
didn't like the structure. Just not down with it. Like, make it a more traditional 2D fighter, and then sure, but I didn't like the gimmick.
Well, I mean, I think it being a 3D game makes it feel more distinct because there's a bunch of 2D fighters out there right now, and not
You need to
that
do
many
something
3D.
more interesting with it mechanically than just, I can throw punches from really far away. It's like, okay, every other fighting game lets you throw a punch.
I mean, I suppose the emphasis on spacing is something to set it apart, but yes.
I mean, every other fighting game also values spacing.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
It's just not as overtly obvious as that.
I'm trying to play devil's advocate here and
I
not
know.
doing a great job. Oh, this is like an actual new weapon, though.
Yeah.
We were talking about this, how there weren't really that many weapons in this game.
The immune cestus is really good.
Yeah, you're going to be using the base blades and the Nemean cestus a lot. The other two just don't really matter.
And it's mostly because they don't feel that different than the normal blades.
Yeah. And by
The
the
immune cestus is distinct enough.
yeah, and by the time you get the last whip thing, you're like already at like the 3/4 point of the game, so you've already leveled up your other stuff. So why bother?
I guess that's often a problem when you get new abilities late into a game, especially if they have RPG systems like this. It's like, okay, there has to be something worthwhile to this weapon or whatever in order to make me want to switch my tactics to start using it. That's actually a big thing in Pokemon, where a lot of the time they'll introduce a lot of cool Pokemon at the end of the game, but it's like, I already have a team of Pokemon. Why should I change what I'm doing right now?
Yeah,
to
but also at
grind
the
an
same
extra
time,
20 levels to get a Dragonite. I don't see the point.
yeah, but I mean, also at the same time, that's also why they put really shitty mon at the start of the game, because you know you're not going to be using them past like the first gym.
This is something I likely said so many times, but I am always so hesitant in catching higher level Pokemon later in the game because I know they don't have nearly the amount of effort values as my team as now.
Well, I think that might just be the instance of you knowing more about the game, because
But I can't turn it off though. That's the
that
thing.
is
Yeah.
true. Yes, like
And even thing like I think effort values and stuff only apply to base stats at like level 50 and 100.
no, they do affect you as you level up. It's just gradual, is the
Yeah.
is the thing. So
So and that's always in the back of my mind.
I think it's somewhat balanced out by Pokemon will give you more effort values when your wild
get high-
Pokemon will get more will give more EVs if they're higher leveled or bigger evolutions. I think more.
Yeah, like I say, by the time you're at the late game, you're fighting evolved forms of them, which naturally give you more EVs.
Yeah, and I believe, I could be talking out of my ass because this is the obscure Pokemon mechanics. So, I believe that usually by the time you get to like Gym 6 or whatever, if you've been using a Pokemon since like Gym 1, it'll be close to maxed out, if not completely maxed out on EVs anyway. So it's not like you're getting any more value out of using them than just pumping rare candies into them.
Yeah, generally speaking, the best mon to use are like mid-game mon.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you have more variety, and you're not stuck with early game bug or normal mon who have terrible stats and don't have a big move pool.
Yeah, pretty much. Then
Like,
again, though,
I catch them
Pokemon
for
in a
dex
while.
completion, but
I haven't played Pokemon in a while. I haven't played
Right.
since Sword and Shield. Like
This is the end of the part, but this is the end of the part. It's probably not the best time to go into this tangent, but I completely ignored Gen 8.
I mean, you're not wrong for doing so, honestly.
yeah, but I like even before that, I hadn't really played much Pokemon in the time before that either. Like I just wasn't into it for a good like year or so before
Yeah, well,
that game came out.
Part of it is just it's not a franchise I get like obsessive over, where I do a ton of stuff with it.
I've had
when
burnout.
a new gen comes out, I play through it, I recomplete my decks for storage and all that, and then I'm done. There's no reason to keep doing more.
Don't you want to do raid battles, Ryan?
No.
Okay.
See you guys all next part for God of War.